right? So you know these guys because you see them all the time because they always in my reel, especially this dude, you know. And so basically about thoughtfulness. So I always consider how somebody's feelings, even though they don't consider mine. I'm always gonna be me, and I always consider others, right? And I don't want to just go basically go straight into storytelling, but just to give you a quick rundown, like, so I'm the youngest of 6 of my family, and by me being the youngest, to me it's pressure. But by me being the youngest of 6, I'm able to see what's going on. My mother had me when she was 40 years old. God rest her, Barbara Jean Felton. And from 0 to 13, that's the only time that I had with my mother. And then after that, it was just how I feel. It was all me and the Most High. But I didn't know that it was just me and God at that time because I was angry because I didn't know why would he take my mother away, and she was suffering, you know. And now that I am a man, and and I watch how my father was, I don't think he did a good enough job in the representation for her, and that's another thing that makes me feel about love. Love is very important. I love, because what else would you do anything for other than that reason? So I always base it on being thoughtful for number 1, and then 2 is love. So those 2 things is gonna help you get through a lot. And I talk to a lot of people, and they do know me. So love makes you do things that you normally wouldn't do. And whether it's going to work, whether it's somebody that you dislike, but because you love a person, you would do what you wouldn't normally do because of that. You know what I mean? Going forward. So being thoughtful. So I consider people's feelings a lot. Right? So being my age now, I'm 42 now, but from 13 to 42, I went through a lot, and you wouldn't know what I went through unless I told you, because like I'm the epitome of never giving up. And you have do's and don'ts, and all I do is do. And if I can't do it, I'm not going to do it. But I had to learn how to do my work and not do God's work. So I end up doing. I learn how to do that now, but I used to do my work and God's work. And what I mean by God's work is where you trying to fix something that is out your will or out your way. You know what I mean? Out of your control. If something is out of your control, it doesn't make sense for you to spend that energy on that time on it. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing you could do. So you leave that with the Most High. So that's how people create stress. That's how people create anxiety, because you're trying to control something that's non-controllable. Like, in other words, forcing your will on others. And this is another form of being thoughtful because you're thinking, right? So, because I don't want to talk too much as far as like being all over the place, but at the same time, I want to stay on being thoughtful. Now, I've been married, right? Because everything is like, I planned a lot, right? So I've been married for 17 years. I have a beautiful family. If you watch my page, you on my reels, you see my children, and you even see my children's mother. You see her. At times I still consider her being my wife. I do at times, and that's another thing. That's another note. But she has the power. I have given her that power. But anyway, I don't want to go extra. But anyway, being thoughtful. Go back to being thoughtful. So, what up, Stone Cold? This my other guy. Come here, with your leather cat, the leather coat, and all that fun and shit jacket. You know. What up? Peace, peace, peace. You know, so just going back to being thoughtful. So I was always like a natural thinker, and I thank my mother for that because I've watched her. And to anybody that's a child growing up, or anybody that has their parents, like study your parents, learn from them. You know, because they have been on the earth before you, and you will be able to learn from your parents by or knowing your habits or where your trauma comes from by studying your parents. All right, and that's another form of being thoughtful, right? And all these things happen because they're not thoughtful enough or whatever. So like I made it my responsibility, my business to be thoughtful and try to be the man that my father wasn't, right? So thoughtfulness is like a major key in living, because you're able to plan, you're thinking constantly, and then you try to come up with solutions. So remember what I said, it's all about you controlling what you can. And if you can't control it, don't deal. You know what I mean? It's do's and don'ts. And then people be like, oh, I tried to be this way, or I tried to be that way. Trying to me is like another form of failure. Because if you fail, if you try to do something that don't work, you feel like you failed. But if you do something you know you can do, it's a you succeeded, or you feel like you achieved something.
Yeah, I would say also in saying that you're trying to do something, it's almost like you're not even trying to confirm whether or not you're doing it.
Right.
When you say you're trying to do something, it's like,
It's a
yeah,
if.
you're making it optional. You know, if you say you're gonna do something, it's in stone. Like you're gonna do it.
Right.
You know.
Right. You know what I mean? So so basically, back to being thoughtful. So and maybe I shouldn't do that, but I think it's a necessity because it teaches me how to respond or deal with other people mentalities or situations, because we're not on this in this earth or on this world alone. So, you know, it always pays to be thoughtful, right? And I always consider others, right? And so I just basically I think about how my mother, like, let me use that because I'm gonna make it about me. So I always think about how my mother deal with things, especially when you become an adult. And I want everybody to try to think about your parents or think about somebody that was older than you that either raised you or you looked up to or anything, right? Just think about that. So I always thought about how my mother was coming to New York at 19, her first child at 18 or 17, and then just the life that she had. And then she worked like all her life, you know, and then for her to work 29 years of her life at the post office, and then she ended up the 29th year for her retirement. She's supposed to, because you're supposed to do 30 years. So on the 29th year, when she was about to retire, turning on her 30th year, she just died. You know what I mean? And to me, it's like, it's almost like a waste. And that could happen to any of us, because now, remember, I said she had me when she was 40 and I'm 42, right? So I'm in that realm. And all of us that's in our 40s, anything can happen. You know what I mean? So just imagine that your mother, you 13, you're born, your mother have you at 40, and then 13 years from now, your mother gets sick and she died. You know, and a child doesn't think about their parent dying. They always think that their parents gonna live forever. You know what I mean? I watched my mother suffer. You know, so that, you know, it's always like with trauma, and that's another thing. Like trauma, what you should do with your trauma is just be more thoughtful. If you have trauma or when you go through your trauma, you should look at it as a positive, because You want to be thoughtful about a lot of things with your traumatic issues or your traumatic situation. Don't let your trauma dictate your future. You know what I mean? And I believe that I'm going to be able to show that throughout the trials and throughout the time that y'all, if y'all do stick around and follow and you do watch my reels, you'll see certain things that I'm saying. But I believe that the trauma that you went through in your past, it should make you better. You know what I mean? And people really be carrying on a childhood trauma into their adult life. And they just feel like that's the reason why they are that way. And I understand that, but at the same time, that should be the reason why you're not that way as an adult. You know what I mean? And people don't have a solution or answers to the reason why their trauma affects their life as an adult. You know, and also, because I might be going off a topic, but also as an adult, you are responsible for your emotions and you're responsible for your reaction and all that. So it's all about responsibility also. So your trauma should not, like I said, dictate your future. You know what I mean? And I've been through a lot of trauma. You know what I mean? I went through the child abuse verbally, mentally, and physically. And also just not, your father not being there the way he's supposed to be there to where your son turns into a man. You know what I mean? Those one-to-one conversations, like I didn't have any of that. But I still end up being who I am because I have been thoughtful. I've learned how to be thoughtful. It comes with practice, but I've learned how to be thoughtful because I care. And I always care. And I could have been an individual that didn't care because of my childhood trauma. You know what I mean? And that's not the case. My childhood trauma allowed me to be a better man. You know what I mean? So basically, when you lose, like especially like somebody that you look up to. I looked up to my mother, right? And you look for your mother every day, and you look for just somebody you love, anything. Like you look for that person every day, and then that one day you just watching them, like they're gonna die or they just leave you. You know, that's traumatic. You know what I mean? And I could have took that and been a menace or a maniac, and I didn't. What that did eventually inspired me to be a better man because I never wanted my children to go through what I went through. So I made myself the best man I could ever be. And this is without the male influence. This is not without the dad. Even though I have brothers, shout out to Taz, God rest his soul, for Bobby and my brother Freeman, but still at the end of the day, they had their trauma also. So how could they be a brother to me or in representation for me? You know what I mean? So I had to do all these things on my own. So, you know, that's why being an influencer, I think I could be one of the best, not even that I know I'm one of the best influencers out there because of that, because my shit is real. I did the married thing. My children, I love them. And it was planned pregnancy, planned marriage, everything was planning. And then for me to plan everything and then still feel like I failed, that's another trauma or a traumatic situation. You know what I mean? Because just imagine somebody that you love more than anything end up betraying you, or you plan for all these things and then you turn around and lose everything. Nobody really would know that unless I said that, but I'm still here. So one of my guys, shout out to Heidi, one of my guys told me like I'm the epitome of never give up. And I had to tell him that I had gave up. Many times I gave up. You know what I mean? But that wasn't that's something that it was like how you say, like a no-go? Like when you're not able, like when it's not your time. You know what I mean? Like, so it was non-negotiable. You know what I mean? Giving up was non-negotiable for me. But anyway, I wanted to give my children something that I never had. So I made it my business to be the best man ever. And I know I look weird, right? Because of my tats. I don't know if I ain't tell you that, but yeah, you gotta excuse me. But anyway, like, I made it my business to be the best man ever that I can be. And I'm still learning. And I'm still going through traumatic issues and trying to situations, but the thoughtfulness allows me to not allow my trauma to dictate my future. Because I always want better. And so that's what the ideal of this podcasting is going to be about, I didn't even develop a name. I got a few names. I don't know if it's going to be Swamp Nation, uh, SwampdafiedRadio. I don't know. But, all I want to do is get the word out to people to let you know you're not alone. You know what I mean? And the best thing I could tell you from the beginning is be thoughtful. Be so thoughtful that you can always find a solution to a problem. And if you can't do it, deal with somebody or talk with somebody that's thoughtful enough that when you have a traumatic situation, that they can either get you out of it or they could guide you. And that goes for women especially, because y'all base y'all trauma on your future. And you think because your trauma is you went through something that's gonna justify your behavior. And it don't work like that, especially because if men would use the same reason, it would be a no-go. You wouldn't appreciate that. You know what I mean? So, and that's another thing, that toxic is not a man thing or a female thing, it's a human thing. You know what I mean? Toxicity is a human trait, but being thoughtful, like I consider a lot of people, I consider you, even you, I consider you. People cursing me out and all that. That's the reason why I'm doing this, because I'm considering you. I'm considering the young and I'm considering the old, and nobody really taught me how to be me. I had to learn this through me and the Most High, and you see these guys right here, this is my family, you know what I mean? And it's like an investment, you know what I mean? And they go through their issues, but the thoughtfulness that I try to instill, or we talk about being thoughtful, this is why they here. You know what I mean? So they could share and tell y'all the experience that they go through and so forth, But yeah, man. Just work on being thoughtful and don't think that your trauma is gonna like determine who you are. You know what I mean? Find a solution to that. And they'd be like, oh, seek therapy. You need to seek therapy. And I think being thoughtful allows you to teach yourself how to be therapeutic. And that don't mean to go see a therapist. Learn how to be therapeutic for yourself, whether it's going to the gym, listening to music, lighting candles. Like I do all of that shit. You know what I mean? And then at times that shit still don't work either, because I still want to DDT a motherfucker on concrete. You know what I mean? But I don't. You know what I mean? Because I'm being thoughtful, because I know if I DDT him, if I kill him, his children is not going to have a father, or I'm going to be in trouble. You know what I mean? So it's all within practice. So always care. Even when you think you shouldn't care, care. Always care. And you could tell with the way the world is going right now, if you didn't see how Christmas was like one of the worst Christmas ever in so long. You know what I mean? This is like one of the worst Christmas that I ever had. You know what I mean? And it's because the love and the thoughtfulness is not there. The inconsiderate, the selfishness is not there, and it's out in the open. So I'm gonna break that chain. And that's my goal, to break that chain. So this is what this beginning is for me. So this is my opening to let you know who I am, who my crew is, and what we are about. You know what I mean? And then you'll listen to a lot of podcasters. Everybody's podcasting, but what are they casting for? You know what I mean? What experience do they have? What life did they live? They don't share that. All they do is just be talking. You get the edit part, and even even if you think you're getting the raw uncut part, it's still edited. It's premeditated. You know what I mean? Ain't you taking advice from people that don't have the experience or that really didn't give it that thought. You know, and at least with me, I went through the things to where if I say something or if I'm being your advisor or if I'm advising you something, at least you know that I went through it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to give too much to where I don't want the topics to keep bouncing all over the place. So this, like I said, this is my intro, and I just want to say hello. And the next time you see me, you know, feel free to chime in and ask questions, because I post a lot of reels and nobody talks to me. They watch the reels, they listening, but they don't talk back to me. They be like, "Oh, I like your reels, I like your videos, but you ain't saying nothing. Talk to me, trust me." And I helped a lot of people, and they can attest to that. You know, I do know what the fuck I be talking about, right, Stone Cold? Yo, he's a Gemini right here. This is my Gemini guy right here. But anyway, you know, I do know what the fuck I be talking about, man, because I took the time to be thoughtful, and I think you can do that too, because we all have brains. We all, and it's there for us to use, you know what I mean? Be conscious, be considerate, you know what I mean? And even if somebody's not good to you, you have to think about that and you got to learn when to walk away. You know what I mean? It's all about being thoughtful, like for real, you know, give that shit some time. People don't really be thinking. They be like, "Oh, I can't believe I did that shit. Yo, why the fuck I did that shit?" Motherfucker, because you wasn't thoughtful. You wasn't thinking, and that's why. So if you think about it and you plan, you're able to stay ahead, you know how to make these adjustments. And this is another thing. I don't want to talk about it, but you know, that UPS shit works for me. You know what I mean? Because I use these methods. You stay ahead, you plan, and you make adjustments based on conditions. You need to do that. You know what I mean? And that's all I want for us. You know what I mean? This is what I'm using this platform for. Even with the exercise and all that. If you see K Finesse, shout out to him. If you see the before and after, this motherfucker couldn't even do one pull-up. You know what I mean? But he's busting ass now. We make people look crazy in the gym. You know what I mean? And you see the growth. You know, and I just really, 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 like sincerely, I just want to touch on those things. So what you see and what you hear, that's actually who I am. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they're not going to like me and all that extra shit, but I don't care. You know why? Because I'm still for the people. I'm here for the people, for the greater good, and that's all I want to do. And I want y'all to do the same thing. You know what I mean? So don't feel that your trauma and all these things that you're going through is the end. It's not the end. What make it the end is you not doing. And it's not, oh, you not trying. It's you not doing. You have to do. And if you can't do, don't do. And that's it. Right? So let's just give you an example. If a motherfucker, if you ain't got no money and you owe money or you got to pay something, you don't go rob somebody to go pay, because you still owe. And guess who you owe? The universe. And you don't never want to owe the universe. You want the universe to owe you, because he's going to take and give. So if you rob somebody to pay somebody, guess what's going to happen? You know what I mean? But if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. What they going to do? Because if they kill you because you ain't got it, they ain't getting it. So it don't matter. But you know what would stop you from doing that shit? Thinking about not borrowing for that motherfucker or putting yourself out there so you don't be fucked up. You know what I mean? And it's all about conscious thinking. You know, and I watch all these podcasts, people talking about love, people talk about marriages, they talk about relationships, they talk about this person did this person did that, or they giving you advice and they never experienced what you went through. How can somebody give you advice on trauma that didn't go through your trauma? You know what I mean? And everybody's trauma is different, but at the same time, just look at me. Look at my trauma. You know what I mean? Just look at just me being married, because everybody be like, "Oh, this nigga was married. What happened?" It don't matter what happened, but I'm gonna tell you what happened, not now, but at the end of the day, just look at me, that all of that shit, and I'm still here doing what I need to do because that's what need to be done. Because I believe, and it needs to be done. Because I'm forever. I really honestly believe that. I'm forever. You know what I mean? And I inspire and I touch a lot of people. You know what I mean? And I'm able to do that is because my thoughtfulness. You know what I mean? So throughout this process, or as long as I'm on this earth, and probably not, because you see Kevin Samuel, God rest his soul, he ain't here, but he's touching a lot of people still. Some women don't like it, but it makes sense. And right now, the men, nobody talk about the men's trauma. Nobody's being thoughtful for the man. You know what I mean? We are being ignored. I've been ignored for years. And we talking about, I'm 42, right? So if my mother passed, and I don't want to keep talking about my mother's past, but let's just say, because that's trauma. So if my mother passed at 13, and I'm 42, that's 3 decades of trauma, almost, you know what I mean? And I'm still here, willing and able. You know, so that's part of my intro, you know what I mean? But, you know, my guys is here, you know. Can you want to introduce yourself? Because you sitting here quiet with the pink do-rag on, ain't matching the outfit. You listen to me all the day, all the time, because all I do is fucking talk. I talk too much.
Introduce me, Kevon, Soldier Boy. I'm here, listening, and I agree with most of what you're saying. But yeah, I see what you're saying, and I understand.
It's not about you understanding what I'm saying. I want you to elaborate with the people and let them know, like, you could touch on, tapping on what I'm saying, because you could give an example. Because motherfuckers think I'm crazy. Like, honestly, like, I believe in energy, all that, astrology, all that. I be like, what's your sign? You be like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, I'm out of here. I be like, what's your sign? I'm a Cancer, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Everybody don't mix with everybody, you know what I mean? But you got earth signs. Everything is built on elements. And that's another thing I'm going to touch on. But, I really, really believe in, like, I believe in people just learning and doing the right thing. And it's always possibilities if you able, you know what I mean? Because like I say, he couldn't do a pull-up. Stone Cold couldn't do a pull-up. Now he's going in. You know what I mean? So it's about that, believing and being doing and progression, right? You know, so how much time I got left? I got like 40 minutes, 20 minutes? What time is it? 5, 6 minutes. All right, so, but I'm happy, man. You know, and it's hard to maintain happiness. Like, I'm really happy, and I wasn't happy for a long time. And fight for your happiness, because nobody really respect your happiness like you do. And that's why people take your happiness away, because not seeing you happy makes them happy. You know what I mean? So that's another thing about being thoughtful. Think about your happiness. Think about how you feel when it comes to certain things, and like, honestly, like, I really know what I know, you know what I mean? And people don't like that you know what you know. And it's not like I know everything, I just know what I know. And if it works for you, which I believe it will, that's good. You know what I mean? I really believe that. But we have the air, and then you have earth, right? What's the best element? And I always ask this question, as an earth, what's the best element you would prefer to have? Because you got fire, and water, and air. So what would you, if you had to pick those 3 elements, which one would you take?
I don't really know for sure. Like, I'll be honest though, I haven't really been I'm not really that in tune. So
If you had to choose right now, what element, if you had to pick out of all those elements to survive forever, which element would you pick? Fire, air, or water?
It's like you being the avatar.
I would say water.
He would say water.
Why you say water?
Because you can't survive without water. That's simple as that. Like, you actually can't.
Same goes for air though.
I mean,
You can't survive without air. Water wouldn't be water without air because you got precipitation or whatever. And this is the thing, like earth signs, Virgo, selfish ass Taurus. Let me stop.
that's why there's polygamy, right?
Oh, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. And this ain't to toot horns, but just think about that. What elements make you you? What helps you be a better you? You know, and that's another topic with that. And that's all about conscious thinking and being thoughtful. Like all these things, you have to be a thinker because that's what this world needs right now. The world needs thinkers. And if you're not thinking and you're not thinking and you're just living, you're not alive. You know what I mean? I need people to be alive. I need you to be alive. And you know what's gonna help you be alive or become alive? You need to think, start thinking and start using the elements that's most resourceful for you. So he said water. Let him try that. He said you can't live without water. So just have water all you day. Just have water. And you know what's ill? Watch how whales are. Mammals in water, right? They gotta come up for air, right? And they an inhabitant to where that would kill them, right? Because they need air. Air is important. You know what I mean? So just think about your elements. I just want everybody to think, do the right thing. And every time I go live or when I make these reels, I want y'all to be thoughtful about what I'm saying. Just think about it. You know what I mean? I don't know everything. I know what I know. You know, but the next segment you see me, we're gonna be talking about love and we're gonna be talking about relationships. I know it's boring, but it's important because that's what the world is missing. It's missing love. It's missing no relationships. It's missing that, the unconditional love. And another thing, man, you know, if you're not able to love unconditionally, do not get in no relationship, please. Do not get married and probably do not have any children. You know what I mean? Because you have to love unconditionally to be a man. Honestly, you have to. You have to love unconditionally to be a good father. You have to learn how to love unconditionally to be a husband. You know what I mean? You have to learn these things. And you know, it's important. You know, so these are the things that I'm going to be touching on forever until I'm not here anymore. You know what I mean? But stop listening to people that don't have the experience or the resources. You know? Stop doing that because it doesn't work for you. You know, you may think it is. It's not going to work for you. It's not. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not. I just feel because I want to say it the right way because people be like, oh, you can't force your will on anybody, but try it though. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? So I want to tap in with the youth, the young people, and the teenagers, because y'all all wild and you're acting crazy. Nobody's thinking, and it's not your fault because it's how you was being raised, your upbringing. The fathers is either in jail or they didn't know how to be fathers or men because they wasn't being thoughtful and they didn't have the conscience to do that because how they was raised. You know what I mean? It's just gaps. That's all you see is gaps, gaps, gaps. And I want to break that chain and plug in those gaps. And I think I could do that. Not even I think. I know I can do that. I believe that. So that's going to be my goal going forward for now. All right? So take care. I love y'all. And thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you in a week. All right? Peace.